Go ahead.
Thank you.
Do you need to sit?
No, it's fine. Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Majid. I'm an educationist, data analyst, and methodologist, and I work for University Science Malaysia. Today, I am going to present one article which focuses on education for sustainability leadership, and basically it's a comparative study between Malaysia and Japan. So this is just a brief introduction about myself. Allow me to skip this. And this handsome gentleman is James. He is my co-author for this article. All right. So I will be very quick. I don't want to do literature review and all of these things for you. So very quickly, these are the problems and objectives that we're going to address in this presentation. Basically, the issue of education for sustainability leadership is an underexplored area of study. So this is one of the reasons that what we consider to carry out our study. The second one is that there are insufficient comparative studies on sustainability issues in higher education. The third reason for us to carry out this study was, again, insufficient studies on academic leadership capability framework. This is a framework that was developed in Australian higher education, but even though it's almost 1 decade that this framework has been developed, but it hasn't been used in many higher education research studies. And then the last shortcoming that made us carry out this study was the analytical and methodological shortcomings in previous PLS applications. You know, PLS is one methodology for quantitative research, and since we already knew that there are a lot of methodological flaws and shortcomings in previous research, so we considered addressing this issue. All right, so very quickly, this is, as you can see on the left-hand side, you can see academic leadership capability framework, which I told you that is an Australian model for leadership development in academic settings. It has 5 components. 3 are leadership capabilities, and the 2 are managerial competencies. So we have personal, interpersonal, and collective leadership capabilities, as well as role-specific and generic competencies. In the context of sustainability for higher education, the 2 green competencies are referred to as EFS skills and knowledge. EFS is education for sustainability, as I explained earlier. So in our study, what we're going to do is to assess the effect of these 2, a few components of these 2 EFS skills and knowledge on EFS in role performance effectiveness. And as I explained, these components have a few subcomponents. So focusing on EFS skills and knowledge, we have 4 subcomponents, including EFS expertise, management, university operations, and self-organization. And for EFS in role performance effectiveness, we have 5 dimensions, including personal and interpersonal outcomes, learning and teaching outcomes, recognition and reputation, financial performance, and effective implementation. So in our study, what we are going to do is to assess the effect of EFS expertise and self-organization on personal and interpersonal outcomes. So you can see our theoretical model, the 2 predictors on the left-hand side, and also we have our outcome variable, which is personal and interpersonal outcomes. We also added age as a control variable to address indigeneity in our analysis. We also had a multi-group hypothesis. So we had the information for country, which academic comes from Japan, which academic comes from Malaysia. So we also had another hypothesis to do some multi-group analysis to see how academics are different in terms of their relationships within this theoretical model. So here I have listed the hypotheses. Since I explained them, I just skip to the next slide. And in terms of methodology, our study is quantitative in nature. Our design is cross-sectional survey. Our population are academics affiliated with the Malaysian and Japanese public and private universities. In terms of instrumentation to operationalize our variables, we use the 4-item EFS expertise scale, the 4-item self-organization scale, and also the 5-item personal and interpersonal outcome scales. All of them were developed by Professor Scott, who is the main person behind academic leadership capability framework. So in terms of the method and analytic procedures, basically we use PLS-SEM methodology. I think you have heard the name of Smart PLS, which is quite a popular software. The managing director of this company is Professor Ringel, who is my friend. Myself, him, and also Professor Ringel, and also another 2 friends of mine recently reviewed the application of PLS analysis in higher education for 20 years. And we also provided some guidelines for educationists to apply this method. So we used all of those steps that we introduced and proposed for a proper PLS application and performed all of our analysis. So very quickly, we collected data from 664 academics from the 2 countries using the simple random sampling method. And since we had very small amount of missing values, we replaced them with the median of the items. We detected 2 multivariate outliers, and we exclude these multivariate outliers from our analysis. So our final sample size was 662. Our data was multivariate non-normal, so PLS methodology is quite suitable for these type of analysis. And finally, we added age, as I explained, to address endogeneity in our analysis. So it's very quickly, this slide just shows the profile of the academics that participated in our study. You can see that we had 108 academics from Japan and 554 from Malaysia. So based on these variables, you can see the distribution of the variables in Malaysia, in Japan, and in the total sample. All right. So this is the aggregate level result, meaning that the data from both Japan and Malaysia have been used to estimate our model. And as you can see, both of our hypotheses, H1 and H2, have been supported. And the estimates are quite strong. For the effect of EFS expertise on our outcome variable, you can see that the estimate is 0.451. And with respect to the effect of self-organization on personal and interpersonal outcomes, the estimate is 0.336. So basically, both of them are quite strong predictors. However, EFS expertise is a better predictor of our outcome variable. And with respect to our multigroup hypothesis, we also performed all of the steps in MECOM procedure, which is a requirement for multigroup analysis. And basically, you could see that none of the relationships between the latent variables in our study were different between Malaysian and Japanese higher education. So basically, we did not find any significant differences between Malaysian and Japanese academicians in terms of the relationships within our theoretical model. And this is our final model based on aggregate level, based on aggregate data. As you can see, just a few notes here. We didn't face any measurement evaluation problem. So we also performed PLS predict analysis, and the model exhibited a medium level out of sample prediction power, and also we also performed a structural model robustness check, and we did not find any nonlinear relationships between our variables, which means that this model is quite robust. And here is the country level results. So one model is for Japan, one model is for Malaysia, and as you can see, all of these coefficients and factor loadings are quite similar, supporting the fact that basically there is not a significant difference between the academics in these two countries. And as you can see again, in both models, the effect of EFS expertise on the outcome variable is quite stronger than the effect of self-organization on the outcome variable. And here you can also see the items of just the items of these scales that we have in our survey. Let me just go to the next slide. So this is just the summary of the findings. I'm trying to rush so that in case you are going to have questions, we have enough time. So we provided evidence for the influence of EFS expertise on self-organization on the outcome variable. And as I explained, EFS expertise was a stronger predictor for personal and interpersonal outcomes comparing with self-organization. And we did not find any significant differences between academics in Japan and in Malaysia in terms of the relationships between the model. And also, we observed that almost 50% of personal and interpersonal outcomes are explained and predicted by these two predictors. And with respect to the effect of age, we did not find any significant differences between old and young people in terms of the relationships between the. We did not find any significant effects for age on personal and interpersonal outcomes. And here are some selected practical and policy implications. Given that all of the factor loading and pass coefficients were quite high, basically all of those indicators, the items of our survey, can be considered when the content of EFS leadership is going to be updated. So I have provided a few of the examples here, for example, in terms of time management, work organization, and all of these things. So these are the issues that needs to be considered when the content of education for sustainability leadership development programs are updated. And another point here is that, as I explained, the EFS expertise is quite a stronger predictor for the outcome variable. And since age did not play any significant influence on our outcome variable, basically the policies with respect to personal and interpersonal outcomes can be made irrespective of age. So a kind of universal policy can be made to enhance academics, personal and interpersonal outcomes. So these are the limitations. I just address a few of them. The size of our Japanese sample was quite small comparing with the Malaysian sample. We focused only on public and private universities, so possibly in the future, community colleges, polytechnics, all of them can be considered to replicate our study. And also we use PLS-SEM analysis. There is another new version of PLS analysis, which is PLS-E2. And basically our model can be re-estimated using this PLS-E2. Very quickly, PLS-E2 is a very new method of analysis. If you are if you are familiar with quantitative methods, you should definitely you have heard the name of Professor Peter Bensler. He is the biggest person in the world in terms of structural equation modeling, and this PLS-E2 has been developed by him. But recently, I communicated with him and I tried to somehow improve this type of methodology. So it's a very modern method for educationists if they want to carry out applied educational research. Our study was funded by Sumitomo Foundation in Japan. So we are grateful to those nice people. And also when we publish our article, we have also provided the entire data so that in case you would like to replicate our study, you can simply have access to our data. And these are the references that I have cited in this presentation. And finally, if you are interested in PLS analysis, I told you we have written a review paper on the application of PLS analysis in higher education research. and we have provided very good guidelines to do this. I have provided a few videos on how this methodology can be applied. So in case that you would like to um, get more information about PLS analysis in education and higher education research, you can simply watch those videos in my YouTube channel. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.